Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of SJ Cooks. Today I'm going to show you how to make chickpea broth. Now the one that I'm going to make is vegan because of my sister, but you can also make this vegetarian. Let's go. So the ingredients that we have here are celery, leeks, broccoli, I forgot the word for it, some mushrooms, spinach from our garden, herbs, onion, garlic, canned tomato, canned chickpeas, and some vegetable broth. I really like to add a lot of herbs into this dish because when it comes to vegan cooking, it's quite difficult to get a punch of flavor into whatever dish you're making. And the way that you can do that is by adding herbs like sage, thyme, and rosemary. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my onion and my garlic and start sauteing them in a pan until they become translucent and caramelized. Now the way to peel your onion without crying is to take the top off and then peel off all of the outer layers, leaving on the roots. By leaving on the roots, it seems to lock in that really burny onion smell that comes off of it. Once you have peeled off your outer layers, simply cut it directly down the middle until just before the roots. And I like to do it so that it's in quarters because then I get smaller pieces. And then just chop down. And now you have thinly sliced onion and your eyes don't have to burn. And we don't waste anything, so I chop right up to the roots. And that's it. You can probably hear my onion and garlic frying in the background. I've just added in a nice glug of olive oil. I would suggest that if you're not vegan to add in a cube of butter, as this really gives another layer of flavor. Now in with my onion and garlic, I have added whole cumin seeds as well as some curry leaves. Because this is a vegan dish, again, we're just wanting to add a bit more. So while that's frying, I'm going to start cutting up my green veggies. With my green veggies, I want to roughly chop them, not too fine because otherwise they're going to melt into this dish. As it's a stew or a broth, it's going to cook for quite a long time, so we want our green veggies to be a bit chunkier so that they don't break down as quickly. So with my broccoli, I'm just going to line them all up and chop them into about 2 centimeter pieces. And the same with my leeks and with my celery. Now that my greens are cut, I'm going to quarter my mushrooms. This leaves them nice and chunky, again, because this is a broth. So my onions have been caramelizing and they are looking golden and delicious. I've also just added my herbs into them so that the herbs will release the flavor into the oil. Now, a fun, or not a fun, but an interesting tip about onions when you're frying them. If you're wanting to make caramelized onions, you don't actually need to add sugar, and I believe it's a mistake a lot of people make. I understand adding sugar is an enhancer, but if you're wanting to be a little bit more healthy, like I like to be, you simply need to cook your onions on a low and slow heat for a long time, and they will release all of these natural, delicious, sweet flavors, and they'll make the perfect caramelized onions. So just a little tip. Now that my garlic and my onions have finished cooking, I'm going to add all of my chopped vegetables into this dish. And we're just going to coat them and cook them a little bit before adding in our wet ingredients. You can see how bright and green our broccoli and our leeks and celery have gotten. And then I'm just going to add in our kale and spinach. So I've now turned the heat all the way down on this, and I'm going to add in 1 can of chickpeas. I have drained off the fava, the liquid that the chickpeas in, and I'm keeping it for baking. I told you guys in the last video, fava can be used as an egg substitute in vegan dishes. So we just mix our chickpeas around, add in 1 can of cherry tomatoes. You can use whole tomatoes. I prefer cherry tomatoes, I think they're a bit sweeter. And then lastly, our liquid component is organic vegetable stock. We're just going to pour that in. This should cover the dish, this should be good enough for now, but I probably will add in a couple cups of water as this starts cooking down, just to really give it that brothy feel. So now you're going to bring this up to the boil, and when it starts boiling, pop a lid on it, turn it right down to your lowest heat, and just let it cook for about 45 minutes, and you'll have a really delicious vegan chickpea broth. Alright, so our broth is finally done. I did have to add in 2 cups of water because it reduced to almost halfway, and I really like the brothy feeling to this stew. I also added in about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce just to give it a little bit more of an umami flavor. Now you can do a lot of things with this broth. You don't have to add the tomatoes and then it's more of a white broth. You can also add in a little bit of coconut milk. You can add in some grated ginger. You can add in different types of herbs, different types of veggies. Really play with it and make it to how you like it. I've also added chicken stock to this before when I was making it for myself and my boyfriend because we aren't vegan, and that gives a lot more complexity to this dish. So yeah, just have fun. Now to top this off, I always squeeze in half a lemon. Remember to cup your hand to make sure none of the seeds fall in, because if you lost them in here, I don't think you would find them. And now the final bit is for me to taste on camera for you and maybe mess up. That is absolutely delicious. It's got a lot of umami, a lot of kick from the tomato. Wow, that's very good. I'm gonna have to get my sister to give us the seal of approval.